Hey everybody, you're watching Cadroll Hunter. My bank teller called me to say that a customer had deposited silver dollars at the bank and asked if I'd be interested. I said I would be there right away. I ran in and this is what she had for me. A big bag with 108 Canadian $1 coins. Stay tuned. Hey folks, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter. I've given my bank my phone number. I tell them if you get anything interesting, call me. Silver dollars, old 50-cent pieces, pennies, paper banknotes. It probably took 6-8 months before anyone actually ever called me, and I reminded them a few times that I'd given them my number. They started calling and now they call regularly if anything interesting comes in. So in this particular call, they told me they had air quote, silver dollars. I never actually expect them to be silver because this is the term that we give to any of these dollar coins that predate our loonie. This is what a circulating $1 coin looks like now. It's quite a bit smaller, quite a bit lighter. Most of these silver dollars that I see from the bank are actually 100% nickel, not silver. Silver was last used in a dollar coin in 1967. So I can see by the look of these, I don't think we're going to get a silver surprise in here. These all look to be nickel dollars, but there's 108 of them. We're going to look through them to see if there are any errors, varieties. There are some things to look for sure. I also want to see if there's any in really, really great shape. So I'm going to get these out of the bag. We're going to sort them by year, and we're going to look at the varieties that we can look for. So that is a big pile of $1 coins. Many of you who are younger probably haven't really seen these in circulation. When I was a kid, these were out there, but they were really rarely used in circulation. So it might be that you got a quote-unquote silver dollar from the mint. And that's the one thing, is that even after these changed to nickel, we still called them silver dollars, and you could still get these from the mint in a special set. So anyway, we're going to have a look. So there's a really good possibility we're going to find some in really, really nice condition. What I'm probably going to do if I find any like that is set them aside. I know a lot of you can't get these from your bank. For whatever reason, some banks think that they cannot pass these out. These are actually still legal tender. You could actually still spend them, but most stores don't have a space in the till for them because they're housing these guys. So you might get some odd looks if you were to try to spend them. All right, let's get them sorted out and we'll take a look. Okay, I've got everything sorted out and arranged by date. We've got right from the first year, nickel dollar, 1968. So we didn't get anything that was older and actual silver. If we had, they'd be bigger than this. They're actually quite a bit bigger in diameter than the nickel dollars. They made these smaller. But we got 68, 69, 70. We didn't get a couple of years, 71, 72. We got 73, 74. And then we skip ahead to 78, 79. And then we got a lot more into the 80s, particularly this huge stack of 1982s. And this is by far the most plentiful. Over 11 million of these were minted. Most other years were maybe 4 or 5 million or less. We actually got some of the Voyaguer dollars in the 1982 as well. We got 83, the Jacques Cartier 84, and the regular dated 84, 85, and a pretty good stack of 1986. We're going to start all the way back in the 1968. There are some varieties to look for in the 68, and I've got my handy dandy Charlton catalog here that's going to help us. You can see there is sort of the regular one, but then there's so the regular one, it says normal island. There's a small island. There's no island. And then we've got doubled horizon lines where you can see here it's a single line. This you can see they've been doubled. And then there's a doubled die reverse with a double date. We want to look for all of those varieties, but we've only got a couple to look through. So not sure we'll find one. I'm going to turn on the scope and we're going to take a closer look at what we got. There it is under the pluggable microscope. Having a good microscope is really, really helpful. It is so hard to judge varieties and see the small differences between varieties without something like this. I can blow this one right up on the screen. We can really easily see that there's no doubling on the date. And then we can just move it over here to see what we've got. There's no doubling on the horizon lines, and this looks to be the normal island. So we don't have a rare variety here at all. We've got a pretty nice looking but circulated 1968. Actually, it looks mostly uncirculated. The funny thing is that a coin like this looks great in hand, right? When you put it under the microscope, you can actually see some of the marks. These are edge marks from being in a bag with other coins. So some of the damage on this coin isn't necessarily from circulation. It's probably from just being stored with other coins. Generally speaking, this is actually a pretty nice looking coin. We'll take a look at the second 1968 and see if this one looks any different. I don't see any doubling on the date. And this one looks like it might be the small island, actually. If we look at that line, it extends just short of this line. We'll compare it to the other one, which goes all the way there. I'll see if I can get both of them on at the same time so we can see the difference. It's definitely much lighter strike here than this one here. So I think we've got a variety. If we look here, I think we've got the small island and the normal island. We got a variety, and that is really cool. That small island has a pretty significant premium, albeit this is probably not completely uncirculated. It may not be completely in a mint state, but it's actually still a pretty nice looking coin. So we got a variety. That is awesome. And I picked up the wrong coin. This is the 68 with what I think is the small island. And this one is definitely more circulated. So it's not going to be a $10 coin by any stretch. But more importantly, we found that variety, which is really cool. No varieties to speak of in the 1969s. The 1970, we got a couple of them here. No varieties either, but this is a pretty beautiful coin. This is a prairie crocus. This is the first nickel commemorative dollar. This is 1970. It is commemorating the centenary of Manitoba's entry into Confederation. That is a pretty nice looking coin, I have to say. And both of these 1970s look to be pretty nice examples as well. So we're missing the 71 commemorative. That's the British Columbia centenary, and the 72 Voyager dollar. We skip ahead to the 1973, and this is the centenary of Prince Edward Island joining Confederation. Another one that it looks like it's to be in pretty nice condition, just very lightly circulated. This is the 1974. This is commemorating 100 years of the incorporation of the city of Winnipeg. This is an interesting one. It features basically two views of Main Street, Winnipeg, 100 years apart. I'll show you these close up. So this one here, we've got a cart with some ox in front of, like a residential or maybe a commercial scene. And then 100 years later, we got skyscrapers, big buildings, cars, and all sorts of stuff here. There are several varieties in this one we want to look for. Particularly, it's around double dies and this ox cart here. Basically, this yoke that's on the back of the ox is doubled in a bunch of different locations. And the Charlton catalog gives us some ideas. So the single yoke, just the yoke is there. The doubled yoke, there's a version where it's just above the yoke. There's a version where it's above and to the left, and a version where it's right by the head of the cow to the right. And I don't think I've found any of them, and we're not going to get one here. We don't see it to the left, we don't see it above, and we don't see it by the neck. So this is just the standard version, but those are ones you want to look for. They're really fun if you can find one for sure. And they're actually worth a bit of money. In an AU, it's a $15, $20 coin, so that's pretty neat. And it's too bad we don't have the 75, 76, or 77. There are a bunch of varieties with respect to those water lines in front of the canoe. We didn't get any to look at. That's too bad. So maybe next time I can get some. Hopefully we have something to look for. But there is a doubled die on the 1978. And we got like 5 of them we can look through. So I'll throw these under the scope. The doubled die appears as something over top of the canoe. It almost looks like another package sort of floating here in front of this little island. So we'll look through each of them. We don't have it here. Got 5 chances. I don't think I've found one of these either. Not there. No luck there. This is the 4th one. Well, there's a little something right there. We'll take a look at the Charlton catalog. It's over top of the center of that left package. And that's not what we have. So this is probably just a scuff or some kind of damage. And the last one here, we don't have it. It's so important. If you want to find any of these varieties, you need to know what you're looking for. And that's why a resource like the Charlton Guide is really, really helpful. If you didn't have this and didn't know what you were looking for, you might find coins like this and just might miss something completely. This is why we can do these coin roll hunts, because we have things to look for. So I highly recommend getting a resource like this. You can order this at the Charlton Press website or the Lighthouse Canada website. Both of those companies are sponsors of the channel, and you can get 20% off using a discount code CRH20. This is actually the 24-25 version of the catalog. This is last year's. I'm just waiting for this year's to come in. You can order your new one right now if you want. So no varieties to speak of in the 79, 80, or 81. And we got this huge stack of 1982. This is the Constitution Commemorative 1982. And you'll see that we've got some of these Voyager dollars from 1982 and far fewer. I think we have maybe 5 of them there compared to, I don't know, that looks like it might be about 30 or so of these commemoratives. The commemoratives were minted at over 11 million, where the 1982 Voyager with the date on it, 1982, that's a nice looking coin, was minted at just about 1.5 million. So far fewer. This is actually a pretty nice looking example. That's pretty good. Now the 1982 Constitution, there are several varieties to look for. One of them is a thin planchet. And if we had them all stacked up like we do right here, what we would actually see is a coin that is significantly thinner. And if we threw it on the scale, it would come up much lighter. It was minted on the wrong planchet. And I can easily see here, these are all the same. So we don't have a thin planchet here. The other variety to look for and these are extremely valuable. I'll just show you here. The thin planchet in an MS63, we're talking thousands of dollars. But there is one we want to look for here, and that is one that is in coin orientation. These are all in metal orientation, the vast majority of them. You can see the difference. $3 for an MS63 versus $7,500 for a coin orientation. So the difference, of course, between those two, metal orientation, and this is a beautiful 1982 here, metal orientation, imagine this is a medal hanging on somebody's neck, and if you flip it sideways, you're going to see the queen right side up. Coin orientation is what the United States coins are typically like, and you would flip them like this, and you would see the obverse bust right side up. So this is just the standard one, although this is in very nice condition. I'm probably going to set aside the nicest of these. I'll put them up on my website. I've got some coins that are there for sale. This is just too nice a coin here to send back into circulation or take back to the bank. And I know, like I said earlier, some of you find it very difficult to get your hands on these if your bank isn't giving them out, or you're not old enough to have collected some of these when you were younger, like some of us. This is a beautiful coin. I'm going to put this under the scope so we can just see all the detail on this. So you can see this is a whole bunch of people surrounding a desk here, and somebody is signing the Constitution. Very reminiscent of the American depiction of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, if you're familiar with that, on the, I think it's the $2 bill in the States. Very similar type of scene here, and this is a pretty cool commemorative. I got to check all of these then to see if we have that very low mint. The thing is, it's probably not likely, given how scarce they are and how expensive they are. But we know what we're looking for, and that's when you might possibly find something. You'll never find it if you don't look. I'm going to look through all of these, not all of them with you on camera here, but I'll just start with a few and see them flipping them sideways, and they are being oriented the way that we're expecting them to be. We want to see if we can flip one that way and find the queen upside down. Then we know we've got a winner, absolutely. So none of those super rare varieties, several of them, many of them actually, were in just beautiful, beautiful shape. Really nice coins. We got a short stack of 1983s, and we got a short stack also of these 1984 Jacques Cartier. This is commemorating 450 years of landing in what is now the Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec. So that's a cool one. It's pretty common. We only got one 1984 Voyager dollar with the date on it without being the commemorative, but this is the hardest one of all of the Voyager dollars in nickel to find. This one was minted at just 1,220,000 and a little bit. So in pretty nice condition, just some slight circulation wear on this guy, but that's the hardest of all of them to find. We got some 1985s. We got a nice big stack of 1986s, and most of these are in pretty nice condition. Really not circulated at all. Beautiful. The one we're missing, the last year for the Voyager dollar, 1987. It wasn't actually intended for circulation. They weren't minted in any great quantities. They were really just in sets because that was the year that the loonie was introduced to replace the nickel dollar and to replace the dollar bill. So it didn't just replace one, it replaced both of those things. So we didn't get silver this time when the bank called to say they had silver dollars, but we did find a bunch of really nice coins, some gorgeous ones here that are essentially in a mint state. And we found one of the varieties we were looking for. It's the 1968 Small Island. Here it is. And one of the ways to tell the small island, if you're not sure, is to look at the water lines. They just fall short of the canoe here. If we look at the other one, these water lines extend right to the bow of the canoe. So that's another way to tell. It is circulated. It's not in the best of condition, although it's not in terrible condition. It's just lost its luster, really. But that's a variety that you might want to be looking for. And we found it all because we told the bank that we would take these coins that were interested in looking for these sorts of things. You just never know what you're going to find. And so whenever the bank calls me or I ask and they say they've got some quote unquote silver dollars, I always say yes, because most of the time they're going to be nickel. You might not find varieties, but they're still legal tender and you can always take them back or spend them. There's no problem. All the banks are obligated to actually take these. So if you brought them back, there's not much they can do about it. They're going to exchange this for other money. But you might get lucky and find one of these cool varieties or fill a hole in your collection if you don't already have all of them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed a bit of a look at some dollar coins you might not see every day. I always enjoy going through these with you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, CAD Roll Hunter, please go ahead and hit that button and subscribe and hit the like button too. That's a really great way to help the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.